close your eyes, and allow the vast silence of the universe to settle over you. Tonight, we journey not into sleep, but into the profound truths of our planet and the endless cosmos that cradles it. Let these 100 scientific whispers be the soft waves that guide you to rest, confirming that you are a cherished part of a spectacular, unfolding reality. The magnetic heartbeat of the planet. Our world is shielded by a force field of immense, silent power, the magnetic field, which originates deep within the molten iron rivers of the Earth's outer core. This protective bubble stretches thousands of kilometers into space, continuously deflecting the relentless barrage of high-energy, charged particles streaming from the sun, the solar wind. Without this invisible, ever-present defense, the sun's radiation would strip away our atmosphere, rendering the surface hostile and dry, incapable of sustaining the delicate balance required for life. This geomagnetic shield is a reminder that the seemingly inert rock beneath our feet is, in fact, an active, dynamic entity, generating the very condition of safety that allows the atmosphere to cling to our world, maintaining the blue sanctuary we call home, and allowing the quiet evolution of every creature that has ever lived upon its surface. The ocean's deepest breath. The world's oceans, covering more than 70% of the planet, are the true lungs and primary climate engine of Earth, far more influential than the forests and jungles we often celebrate. The vast surface area of the seas constantly absorbs enormous quantities of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, dissolving the gas into the water and buffering the planet against the rapid fluctuations of climate change. Furthermore, immense, slow-moving currents, known as the thermohaline circulation, act like a colossal global conveyor belt, transporting heat from the equator toward the poles and redistributing nutrients across the globe. This silent, deep-sea engine dictates weather patterns, marine ecosystems, and long-term temperature stability, confirming that the health of the entire planetary system is inextricably linked to the unseen dynamics of the global ocean, which quietly performs the massive, essential work of planetary regulation. The whispers of deep time. To comprehend the Earth's age, estimated at approximately 4.5 billion years, requires expanding our minds beyond the fleeting span of human history. This concept, known as deep time, reveals that the mountains, valleys, and oceans we see today are merely snapshots in an incredibly slow, continuous transformation. The geological processes of plate tectonics, driven by the slow churning of the Earth's mantle, have caused the continents to drift, collide, and separate countless times, periodically forming vast supercontinents that shaped global climate and evolutionary paths. Every rock formation, every sedimentary layer, and every fossil buried within the crust holds an immense story, measured not in centuries, but in epochs, reminding us that the brief period of recorded human civilization is but a fleeting moment within an endless geological narrative of unimaginable scale, where time itself is the sculptor of the land. The unfolding tapestry of plate tectonics. The ground beneath our feet is not a stable monolith, but a series of rigid, interlocking puzzle pieces, the tectonic plates, that constantly glide and grind against one another on the viscous, flowing rock of the mantle beneath. This slow, relentless motion, typically moving at the speed at which a fingernail grows, is the primary geological engine of the planet. Where these plates converge, immense forces cause one to subduct beneath the other, forming deep ocean trenches and generating volcanic arcs in the world's most massive mountain ranges, such as the Himalayas. Where they slide past one another, massive friction builds until it is released in the sudden, violent energy of an earthquake. This continuous, restless movement ensures the recycling of the Earth's crust, constantly exposing new minerals and helping to regulate atmospheric carbon levels over geological time, illustrating that the Earth is a living, breathing geological machine fueled by the immense, quiet heat radiating from its core. The atmosphere's invisible embrace. Our atmosphere, that thin, blue veil that separates life from the vacuum of space, is a complex mixture of gases that performs multiple life-sustaining functions. While we focus on oxygen, the most abundant gas is actually nitrogen, which plays a crucial role in creating the necessary pressure and providing an inert base for biological processes. The atmosphere acts as a massive thermal blanket, trapping solar heat, the greenhouse effect, to maintain temperatures within the habitable range, preventing the planet from freezing solid. Simultaneously, the higher layers of the atmosphere, particularly the ozone layer, absorb the most damaging high-energy ultraviolet radiation from the sun, shielding the surface and allowing complex life to flourish. This delicate, multi-layered gaseous shell provides pressure, warmth, and protection, confirming that the air we breathe is a finely tuned, essential component of our planet's habitability, meticulously maintained by the laws of chemistry and physics. The secret life of the soil, the thin layer of fertile soil that covers the Earth's land masses, is one of the most complex and essential ecosystems on the planet, a living matrix that is often overlooked. A handful of healthy soil contains more living microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and protozoa, than there are human beings on Earth. These countless organisms are the true engines of terrestrial life, responsible for decomposing dead matter, recycling essential nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, and creating the structure necessary to hold water and anchor plant life. The health of this soil biome is intrinsically linked to the health of all ecosystems and global food production. The creation of just a few centimeters of topsoil is an incredibly slow process, often taking thousands of years, underscoring the precious and fragile nature of this living substrate. The soil is not just dirt, it is a complex, continuously operating biological factory that quietly sustains all terrestrial life on Earth, linking the health of the microscopic world to the well-being of the entire planet. The silent work of water's polarity. The molecule of water, made of hydrogen and oxygen, possesses unique chemical properties that are absolutely crucial for life and planetary stability. Its atoms are arranged in a bent, asymmetrical shape, making it a polar molecule with a slight positive charge on one end and a slight negative charge on the other. This polarity allows water molecules to form strong hydrogen bonds with each other, leading to its exceptional solvent properties, the ability to dissolve more substances than any other liquid, making it the ideal medium for the complex chemical reactions of biology. It is also why ice floats. The hydrogen bonds force the molecules into a less dense, crystalline structure when frozen. This floating ice provides an insulating layer on the surface of oceans and lakes, preventing them from freezing solid from the bottom up and preserving aquatic life, a critical factor in the evolution of life on Earth. Water is truly the universal solvent and the quiet architect of life's chemistry. The sun's energy gift, the energy that fuels nearly every biological and climatic process on Earth, originates from the sun, a massive, perfect star at the center of our solar system. The Sun generates energy through nuclear fusion in its core, converting immense amounts of hydrogen into helium and releasing a staggering amount of energy primarily in the form of light and heat. This energy travels across 93 million miles of vacuum to reach our planet. A tiny fraction of this energy is captured by plants through photosynthesis, a process that converts light, water, and carbon dioxide into the chemical energy of sugars and the oxygen we breathe, forming the energetic basis for virtually all terrestrial food webs. The consistency and magnitude of this solar energy input are the defining factors of Earth's climate and biological productivity, confirming that all life on our planet is sustained by a continuous, massive stream of energy delivered with astonishing precision across the vast, silent expanse of space. The dance of the tides. The majestic, continuous rise and fall of the ocean tides are a direct and observable manifestation of the immense gravitational forces at play between the Earth, the Moon, and to a lesser extent, the Sun. The Moon's gravity exerts a differential pull on the Earth, drawing the ocean water toward it and creating a bulge on both the near and far sides of the planet. As the Earth rotates beneath these bulges, coastal areas experience high and low tides twice daily. These powerful, rhythmic tidal movements are crucial for mixing ocean waters, distributing nutrients, and creating dynamic coastal ecosystems, such as salt marshes and tide pools, which are vital nurseries for marine life. The tides are a silent, constant demonstration of Newton's laws of motion and gravity, revealing the deep, physical connection between our planet and its closest celestial neighbor, the Moon, whose presence dictates the endless, rhythmic pulsing of the world's oceans. The formation of the elements. Every atom of matter in the world around us, with the exception of the very lightest elements, has a cosmic origin. The atoms of carbon, iron, gold, and all the complex elements essential for life were not created during the Big Bang, but were forged within the immense, natural nuclear reactors that are the cores of massive, ancient stars. When these stars exhausted their fuel, they ended their lives in spectacular explosions called supernovae, scattering these newly created heavy elements across the galaxy in colossal clouds of dust and gas. Our entire solar system, including the Earth and every living thing upon it, formed from one of these stellar remnants, enriched by the ashes of stars that lived and died billions of years ago. This truth means that every object, every molecule, and every cell in your body is literally composed of stardust, confirming a profound, continuous material connection between the human being and the deepest, most violent processes of the cosmos. The scale of cosmic emptiness. When contemplating the universe, the most overwhelming reality is the sheer scale of the emptiness between objects. If our entire solar system were shrunk to the size of a coffee cup, the nearest star system, Proxima Centauri, would still be hundreds of kilometers away. Within the Milky Way galaxy, stars are separated by light years of vacuum, and the galaxies themselves are separated by millions of light years of even vaster, nearly empty intergalactic space. This massive separation means that matter, though colossal in total mass, is incredibly diffuse across the universe, emphasizing that our everyday perception of crowdedness is fundamentally an illusion of scale. The universe is primarily a structure of colossal, silent voids punctuated by tiny islands of matter and energy. The illusion of celestial silence. While space is often described as silent, This is only true for sound waves, which require a medium like air or water to propagate. However, space is permeated by a continuous stream of electromagnetic energy, cosmic rays, and subatomic particles traveling at near the speed of light. Stars and galaxies constantly emit light, radio waves, X-rays, and gamma rays across the entire electromagnetic spectrum. The universe is, in fact, incredibly loud with energy, transmitting massive amounts of information through the vacuum, which we can detect with specialized instruments. This silent roar of energy confirms that space is not empty, but a dynamic, active medium, constantly transmitting the light and heat that fuel life and reveal the structure of the cosmos. The light of the ancient past, due to the finite speed of light, though immense, it is not infinite. When we look at the stars and galaxies through a telescope, we are fundamentally looking back in time. The light we observe from the Andromeda galaxy left that galaxy over 2.5 million years ago, meaning we see the galaxy not as it is now, but as it was when early hominids walked the Earth. The more distant an object, the further back in cosmic history we observe it, making the vastness of the universe simultaneously a journey through time. The light from the most distant observable galaxies provides us with a snapshot of the universe when it was only a few 100 million years old, turning astronomy into a form of cosmic archaeology that allows us to study the universe's evolution. The domination of dark matter, the entire gravitational scaffolding that holds galaxies together, is dominated by dark matter, an invisible substance that interacts with visible matter only through the force of gravity. Dark matter does not emit or absorb electromagnetic radiation, rendering it completely invisible to all conventional telescopes. Its presence is inferred from the rotation curves of galaxies, which spin so fast that the visible matter alone cannot provide enough gravitational pull to prevent them from flying apart. Dark matter provides the necessary additional mass, acting as the structural foundation of the universe. This powerful, silent dominance means that every galaxy, including the Milky Way, is contained within a vast, invisible halo of dark matter that determines its motion and shape, confirming that much of the universe's gravitational influence is governed by matter we can't see and haven't yet fully grasped. The mystery of dark energy, the accelerating expansion of the universe, is driven by the even more enigmatic force known as dark energy, which makes up the largest component of the total cosmic mass energy budget, about 68%. Unlike gravity, dark energy is a repulsive force, acting as a kind of anti-gravity that pushes space-time apart. The prevailing theory suggests that dark energy is an inherent property of space itself, a constant vacuum energy that increases as the universe expands and new space is created. This acceleration implies that in the distant future, galaxies will recede from each other at such a rapid pace that they will eventually move beyond our cosmological horizon, leaving our local group of galaxies isolated in a sea of emptiness, confirming that the ultimate fate of the cosmos is controlled by a mysterious, ubiquitous force that continues to confound the world's greatest physicists. The birthplace of stars. Stars are born within cold, dense regions of gas and dust known as molecular clouds, vast stellar nurseries scattered throughout galaxies. Within these clouds, gravity acts upon slight density fluctuations, causing knots of gas and dust to collapse inward. As the cloud collapses, the material at the center becomes increasingly compressed and heated. When the core temperature reaches a critical threshold, around 15 million degrees Celsius, nuclear fusion ignites. This powerful energy release halts the gravitational collapse, stabilizing the immense pressure, and a new star is born, beginning its long, self-sustaining existence that will illuminate the galaxy and provide the energy necessary for the formation of planets and complex chemistry. The end of suns, stellar catastrophes. The end of a star's life is determined entirely by its initial mass. Stars like our Sun will eventually swell into a massive, dim red giant, shedding their outer layers to form a beautiful, expanding cloud of gas known as a planetary nebula, leaving behind a dense, cooling remnant called a white dwarf. However, stars much more massive than the Sun end their lives in a catastrophic explosion known as a supernova. This event marks the rapid, final collapse of the stellar core, releasing an amount of energy in mere moments equal to the Sun's total output over its entire lifespan. These supernovae are the primary source for scattering the heaviest elements, like gold and uranium, throughout the galaxy, literally seeding the cosmos with the complex chemistry necessary for subsequent generations of stars and life. The event horizon of black holes. Black holes represent the ultimate gravitational collapse, regions of space-time where gravity is so intense that nothing, not even light, can escape its pull. They are formed when massive stars run out of fuel and their cores collapse to an infinitely dense point called a singularity. The boundary surrounding this singularity is the event horizon, the point of no return. Once matter or radiation crosses the event horizon, it is irrevocably drawn into the black hole. The gravitational forces near this boundary are so extreme that they warp space-time itself, distorting light and causing the bizarre effect of time dilation, confirming that black holes are not empty voids, but extreme gravitational prisons where the fundamental laws of physics are pushed to their breaking point. The vastness of the Milky Way. Our home galaxy, the Milky Way, is a massive, barred spiral galaxy containing hundreds of billions of stars, and it is vast beyond easy comprehension. If the Sun were scaled down to the size of a speck of dust, the Milky Way would still span over 100,000 kilometers across. Our solar system resides in one of its spiral arms, the Orion Arm, about 2/3 of the way out from the galactic center. The entire galaxy is in constant rotation, completing one full revolution every 225 million years, a period known as a cosmic year. The dense central region, the galactic bulge, hosts a supermassive black hole around which the entire galaxy orbits, confirming that we are participants in a colossal, dynamic gravitational dance that defines our place in the local universe. The cosmic microwave background. The cosmic microwave background radiation is the oldest light in the universe, a pervasive, uniform glow detectable in every direction of the sky. This faint microwave radiation is the thermal afterglow of the Big Bang, emitted when the universe was only about 380,000 years old and finally cooled enough for atoms to form. Before this time, the universe was a dense, opaque plasma, and light could not travel freely. The cosmic microwave background represents the moment the universe became transparent, carrying the crucial, faint temperature variations that acted as the seeds for the later formation of galaxies and the colossal structures of the cosmic web, confirming that this silent, pervasive radiation is a direct, observable echo of the universe's infancy. The relative nature of time. Allow your mind to drift into the realization that time, the seemingly constant rhythm of our lives, is not absolute but relative, bending and stretching in response to motion and gravity, a concept revealed by Albert Einstein's theories of relativity. If you were to travel near the speed of light, time for you would slow down relative to an observer remaining stationary on Earth. Similarly, the powerful gravitational pull of massive objects, such as planets or black holes, also causes time to pass more slowly in their vicinity, a phenomenon known as gravitational time dilation. This means that a clock at the top of a mountain runs negligibly faster than one at sea level, confirming that the flow of time is intrinsically linked to the curvature of space-time itself. This profound principle confirms that your experience of time is unique and personal, a flexible dimension constantly being subtly altered by your position and speed within the cosmos. The illusion of solidity. Contemplate the objects around you, which appear solid and immutable, and understand that this perceived firmness is largely an illusion of scale. Matter is composed of atoms, and within every atom, the vast majority of space, over 99.99%, is empty. The tiny, dense nucleus, containing protons and neutrons, is surrounded by electrons that exist in probabilistic clouds, held in place by electromagnetic forces. If an atom were scaled up to the size of a cathedral, the nucleus would be a fly in the center, and the electrons would be buzzing specks far away at the walls. The solidity you feel when touching a surface is merely the repulsion of the electrons in your atoms pushing against the electrons of the object, a fundamental force mediated by the quantum realm. This realization should allow you to feel lighter, confirming that you are, in essence, a beautifully organized cloud of energy and probability moving through an equally empty, organized space. The unseen dimensions of space. Physics strongly suggests that the three spatial dimensions we perceive, length, width, and depth, may not be the only dimensions that exist. Theories like string theory propose the existence of extra spatial dimensions, perhaps as many as 6 or 7, that are curled up or compactified into a size so incredibly small that they are undetectable by our current instruments. These dimensions are not accessible to our macroscopic senses, yet they could influence the behavior of gravity and other fundamental forces. Imagine the existence of microscopic, hidden spaces woven into the fabric of reality, influencing the universe in ways we cannot yet fathom, hinting at a much richer, more complex geometry to space-time than our daily perception allows us to witness. The principle of conservation. Rest in the knowledge that nothing in the universe is truly created or destroyed, only transformed. This fundamental principle, expressed as the law of conservation of energy and the law of conservation of mass, states that the total amount of energy and matter in a closed system, such as the entire universe, remains constant. The energy you expend during the day, the food you consume, and the heat you generate are all merely different manifestations of the same finite pool of cosmic energy that has existed since the beginning of time. Your own physical being is a temporary, intricate arrangement of atoms that were once stardust, and after your life's journey concludes, these atoms will be recycled back into the environment, becoming components of new stars, planets, or future life forms, confirming your everlasting, material connection to the entire cosmos. The force of gravity's geometry. Gravity, the force that anchors you to the Earth and binds the galaxies together, is not merely an invisible tug, but is a consequence of the geometry of space-time. According to general relativity, Massive objects curve the fabric of space-time around them, and this curvature dictates the paths that other objects follow. Imagine a bowling ball placed on a stretched rubber sheet. It creates a dip, and marbles rolled near it will spiral inward. This warping of space-time is gravity. When you fall asleep tonight, remember that you are not simply lying on a flat plane, but resting on a gentle, massive curvature created by the Earth itself, and your stability is assured by the universe's most elegant geometric principle, the quantum world's uncertainty. The quantum realm, the domain of the very small, operates on rules that are fundamentally different from the predictable, deterministic rules of the macroscopic world. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle whispers that the universe is fundamentally probabilistic, confirming that there are limits to what we can ever know precisely about reality. The very act of observing a quantum particle influences its behavior, making it impossible to simultaneously know both its exact location and its exact momentum. This profound principle confirms that at the deepest, most fundamental level, reality is not fixed but exists as a series of probabilities until the moment of measurement, assuring you that the universe harbors mysteries that are eternally beyond the grasp of absolute certainty. The silent pressure of the atmosphere. Feel the weight of the air around you, a silent, invisible embrace that exerts a profound pressure on every square centimeter of your body. Although you don't feel this pressure, which is roughly equal to the weight of a small car, because the pressure inside your body perfectly balances the external force, it is a massive physical reality. This atmospheric column, extending kilometers into space, is essential for maintaining liquid water on the Earth's surface and providing the necessary density for sound to travel and for life's metabolic processes to occur. The atmosphere is not just air, it is a colossal, omnipresent blanket of pressure that is necessary for the very stability of your biological being. The universe's youthful light. The farthest visible light in the universe, detected as the cosmic microwave background radiation, is the oldest light we can ever see. This faint, uniform glow is the thermal afterglow of the Big Bang, emitted when the universe was only about 380,000 years old. Before this moment, the universe was too hot and dense for light to travel, existing as an opaque plasma. When the universe cooled sufficiently, electrons combined with nuclei to form the first neutral atoms, allowing photons to travel freely for the first time. This ancient light, bathing the entire sky in a subtle glow, is a direct, observable echo of the universe's infancy, connecting your present moment to the very earliest moments of cosmic time. The power of the vacuum. Paradoxically, empty space. The vacuum is not truly empty, but is teeming with energy and activity. The laws of quantum mechanics state that particle-antiparticle pairs are constantly and spontaneously popping into existence and immediately annihilating each other, a process known as vacuum fluctuations. These momentary appearances of energy from nothingness demonstrate that the vacuum of space possesses an intrinsic, non-zero energy density, which may be directly related to the mysterious dark energy that is accelerating the expansion of the universe. This understanding should inspire a quiet wonder, knowing that the nothingness between the stars is, in fact, a vibrant, churning sea of potential energy, fueling the very expansion of the cosmos. The life cycle of planetary nebulae. When a star like our own Sun reaches the end of its life, it does not explode violently, but instead gently swells into a red giant, shedding its outer layers into space. These expelled layers of gas create a beautiful, expanding, colorful shell known as a planetary nebula. This ethereal cloud, illuminated by the hot, exposed core, which eventually cools to become a white dwarf, is a spectacular display of cosmic recycling. The planetary nebula enriches the surrounding interstellar medium with elements like oxygen and carbon that were processed within the star's core, ensuring that the necessary chemical building blocks are available for the formation of future stars and planetary systems. This graceful stellar exit confirms that even in death, a star continues to nourish the potential for future cosmic life. The carbon backbone of life. Contemplate the single element that makes all known life possible: carbon. Its extraordinary ability to form 4 stable chemical bonds simultaneously allows it to link up in endless chains, rings, and complex three-dimensional structures. This unique flexibility enables carbon to create the vast complexity of organic molecules, proteins, DNA, lipids, and carbohydrates that form the structural and functional basis of all biological organisms. If carbon possessed a different bonding capacity, the intricate, self-replicating complexity of life as we know it could not exist, confirming that our biological reality is built upon the unique chemical properties of this single, versatile element. The molecular mechanism of photosynthesis. Rest in the knowledge that all life on Earth is ultimately powered by sunlight captured by the remarkable chemical process of photosynthesis. Within the cells of plants and algae, specialized organelles use the energy of photons to convert simple substances, water and carbon dioxide, into complex sugars, which store chemical energy and release life-giving oxygen as a byproduct. This fundamental reaction, which underpins nearly every terrestrial food web, is the most important chemical reaction on the planet, transforming inorganic matter into the building blocks of life and regulating the composition of the Earth's atmosphere. The chemical language of genes. The blueprint of all life is stored in the elegant, double helix structure of DNA, a molecule that encodes information using only 4 chemical bases, often referred to by their initial letters. The sequence of these bases forms the genetic instructions for building and operating an entire organism. This universal chemical language, shared by every living thing from bacteria to humans, confirms a profound, unbroken common ancestry stretching back billions of years to the earliest single-celled organisms, demonstrating the incredible efficiency and resilience of life's fundamental information storage system. The intricate world of enzymes. Within every cell, the myriad of chemical reactions necessary for life, from digesting food to building muscle, are managed by specialized protein molecules called enzymes. These enzymes act as highly selective biological catalysts, dramatically speeding up reactions that would otherwise take centuries without being consumed themselves. The intricate, unique, three-dimensional shape of each enzyme allows it to precisely lock onto its target molecules, ensuring that chemical processes occur rapidly and with perfect specificity. Life is fundamentally a cascade of thousands of perfectly orchestrated, enzyme-catalyzed reactions, confirming that biological efficiency is achieved through nanoscale precision. The unseen life within. Feel the quiet truth that your body is not solely your own, but is a vast, complex ecosystem dominated by trillions of microscopic organisms, collectively known as the microbiome. These bacteria, fungi, and viruses, residing primarily in your gut, outnumber your own human cells, and their collective genetic material vastly exceeds your own human genome. These microbes are essential for your health, helping to digest complex fibers, synthesize vital vitamins, and train and regulate your immune system, profoundly influencing your metabolism and even your mood, confirming that your existence is an intricate, symbiotic superorganism. The cellular powerhouses. Within every cell of your body, tiny, highly specialized structures called mitochondria act as the cellular power plants. These organelles are responsible for generating the vast majority of the cell's energy supply in the form of adenosine triphosphate, the universal energy currency of life. Remarkably, mitochondria possess their own distinct, circular DNA, separate from the DNA in the cell nucleus, a relic of their ancient past, as independent bacteria that were absorbed by early cells in a symbiotic relationship billions of years ago. This fact confirms that the energy that fuels your consciousness is generated by ancient, captured organisms working diligently within your every cell. The silent work of the immune system rests in the knowledge that your body maintains a complex, continuous internal defense network, the immune system, that is constantly scanning and identifying threats. This system is composed of trillions of specialized cells, such as T cells and B cells, that possess the ability to recognize and neutralize specific foreign invaders, like bacteria and viruses, while tolerating the body's own tissues. The immune system has a form of memory, allowing it to remember past pathogens and mount a much faster, more effective defense upon re-exposure, a principle that is utilized in vaccination. This constant, invisible vigilance ensures your safety, allowing your consciousness to rest securely while your internal guards maintain their silent, tireless watch. The fluidity of the cell membrane. Every cell in your body is enclosed by a delicate, highly regulated boundary known as the cell membrane, which is far from being a rigid wall. It is a fluid, dynamic structure composed primarily of a double layer of lipid molecules, embedded with complex proteins that act as gatekeepers, sensors, and pumps. This membrane selectively controls the passage of nutrients, waste, and signaling molecules, maintaining the precise internal chemical environment necessary for life. The fluidity of this structure allows cells to move, divide, and communicate, confirming that life's fundamental unit is contained and defined by a complex, actively managed, and flexible boundary. The role of water in brain signaling. The electrical signaling that enables thought, memory, and consciousness in the brain relies fundamentally on the movement of charged ions, such as sodium and potassium, across the neuronal membranes. This movement creates the transient changes in voltage known as action potentials. This entire electrochemical process is mediated by the water in which these ions are dissolved. Water's polarity allows it to cluster around and separate the charged ions, enabling them to move across channels and generate the electrical gradients that constitute the very language of the brain. The continuous flow of thought is therefore intrinsically linked to the chemical properties of water, confirming its central role in your awareness. The universal code of the genetic material. The fact that all life on Earth shares the same fundamental genetic code, where specific sequences of the 4 chemical bases always code for the same 20 amino acids, is the single most compelling piece of evidence for the common ancestry of all organisms. This universal code means that the genetic instructions from a simple bacterium can, in principle, be read and expressed by a human cell, underscoring the deep, underlying unity of all biological life. Despite the superficial differences between species, the molecular machinery of inheritance is conserved across all domains, linking the quiet mystery of your existence to the immense, shared history of life on this planet. The life cycle of stars and the main sequence. The largest portion of a star's life is spent in a stable phase known as the main sequence, where it generates energy through the fusion of hydrogen into helium in its core. The star remains in this equilibrium for billions of years because the outward pressure generated by the intense heat of fusion perfectly balances the inward crushing force of gravity. Our Sun is currently about halfway through its main sequence lifetime. The luminosity, temperature, and lifespan of a star on the main sequence are entirely determined by its initial mass, confirming that the stability and duration of a star's existence are dictated by a simple, elegant balance of fundamental forces. The mysterious behavior of neutrinos rests in the quiet realization of the existence of neutrinos, subatomic particles that are created in vast quantities during nuclear reactions. Particularly those within the Sun, neutrinos possess almost no mass, no electrical charge, and interact with normal matter so weakly that trillions of them pass through your body every second, day and night, without ever leaving a trace. Detecting them requires massive, specialized underground detectors designed to catch the extremely rare moments when a neutrino interacts with an atom, confirming that the universe is permeated by an immense, silent, nearly undetectable flux of these ethereal particles that reveal fundamental truths about stellar processes. The immense scale of galactic clusters. Galaxies are not distributed randomly throughout the universe, but are clustered together by gravity into immense groupings known as galaxy clusters and superclusters. Our own Milky Way is part of the local group, which is a modest cluster of over 50 galaxies, including the Andromeda Galaxy. This local group, in turn, is part of the colossal Virgo supercluster. These immense structures, dictated by the gravitational pull of dark matter, define the large-scale architecture of the cosmos, confirming that even the largest, most luminous objects in the sky are not independent entities, but are participants in a vast, gravitational dance across the cosmic web. The principle of cosmic censorship. In the theoretical study of black holes, the concept of cosmic censorship proposes that every singularity, the infinitely dense point at the heart of a black hole, must be hidden from the view of distant observers by an event horizon. This principle suggests that naked singularities, which would expose the point where the laws of physics completely break down, are forbidden in nature. The universe, in its elegance, ensures that the most extreme violations of physical law are contained and veiled, maintaining a certain order and predictability for the rest of the cosmos, allowing the rest of reality to function under stable, understandable principles. The redshift of distant galaxies. The most compelling observational evidence for the accelerating expansion of the universe is the redshift of light coming from distant galaxies. As a light source moves away from an observer, the wavelengths of its light are stretched, shifting the light toward the red end of the spectrum, analogous to the drop in pitch of a siren moving away from you. The farther away a galaxy is, the faster it is receding, and the greater its redshift, confirming that the space between galaxies is continuously stretching, a process being driven by the mysterious dark energy. The beauty of nebulae. Nebulae are the vast, interstellar clouds of gas, plasma, and dust that drift between the stars, and they represent both the stellar nurseries where new stars are born and the final, beautiful remnants of dying stars. Emission nebulae, glowing intensely, are illuminated by the fierce ultraviolet radiation from young, hot stars within them. Dark nebulae, appearing as dark silhouettes against the background of brighter stars, are so dense with dust that they block visible light, quietly concealing the stellar formation processes occurring deep within their cold, dense cores, confirming that even the empty space between stars is rich with potential, creativity, and the chemical building blocks of future worlds. The asteroid belt's formation. The asteroid belt, located between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, is not the remnant of a shattered planet, as was once theorized, but is composed of rocky bodies, or asteroids, that failed to coalesce into a planet during the early formation of the solar system. The massive gravitational influence of the planet Jupiter continuously stirred the material in this region, preventing the fragments from accreting into a single large body. The asteroids are pristine remnants of the solar system's initial conditions, providing scientists with valuable clues about the composition of the early solar nebula before the planets fully formed. The tidal locking of moons. Most large moons in the solar system, including our own, are tidally locked to their parent planet, meaning they rotate on their axis in the exact same amount of time it takes to complete one orbit around the planet. This synchronous rotation is the result of billions of years of gravitational interaction and is why the moon always presents the same face toward the Earth. This gravitational synchronization is a common celestial phenomenon, demonstrating the subtle but powerful influence of persistent gravitational forces on the rotational dynamics of orbiting bodies. The power of stellar fusion. The incredible, steady output of energy from stars is sustained by nuclear fusion, the process where the immense heat and pressure in the star's core force the nuclei of light elements, primarily hydrogen, to combine, or fuse, to form heavier elements like helium. This process releases a massive amount of energy according to the famous mass-energy equivalence principle. This continuous, balanced process is what powers the universe, confirming that the light that warms your skin is the result of atomic nuclei being perpetually forced together in a magnificent, continuous cosmic furnace. The age of the universe. Rest assured in the immense timescale of the cosmos, which is currently estimated to be approximately 13.8 billion years old. This immense age has been precisely calculated by analyzing the cosmic microwave background radiation and the expansion rate of the universe. This timescale provides the necessary duration for stars to form, live, and die, forging the heavy elements, and for planets to form in the slow, complex process of biological evolution to unfold, confirming that your life exists as a fleeting, precious moment within a cosmic history that is unimaginably ancient. The core's essential dynamo. Drift into the awareness that the center of the Earth is a realm of unimaginable pressure and heat, a region composed primarily of iron and nickel, separated into a solid inner core and a vast, swirling liquid outer core. It is the convection currents within this liquid outer core, the immense, slow-motion movement of molten metal, that generate the Earth's powerful magnetic field. This geodynamo acts as the planetary guardian, creating the protective magnetosphere that shields the surface from destructive solar radiation, a silent, ongoing process that has been essential for protecting the atmosphere and allowing the slow, deliberate evolution of life for billions of years. The health and stability of our entire biosphere rely completely on the dynamic, superheated currents deep beneath our feet, confirming that the very condition of life is sustained by a colossal, continuous flow of liquid metal in the planet's dark heart, a process both fierce and fragile. The fragility of the ozone veil. Contemplate the existence of the ozone layer, a thin, fragile region high in the stratosphere where a specific form of oxygen molecule, ozone, performs a vital protective function for all surface life. This layer absorbs the most energetic and damaging wavelengths of ultraviolet radiation from the sun, radiation that is capable of destroying DNA and inhibiting photosynthesis. The formation of ozone is a continuous cycle, driven by the interaction of sunlight with atmospheric oxygen, creating a delicate, self-sustaining shield that is absolutely mandatory for life on land. The realization that this entire planetary defense mechanism is a layer only a few millimeters thick if compressed to sea level pressure underscores the delicate balance of our atmospheric chemistry and confirms that the boundary between life and lethal radiation is a surprisingly fragile, chemically maintained veil. The uniqueness of continental drift. Marvel at the immense, continuous power of plate tectonics, the geological engine that constantly reshapes the Earth's surface. Unlike other known planets in our solar system, Earth's crust is fragmented into distinct plates that are driven by heat rising from the mantle. This movement, occurring over geological timescales, is responsible not only for creating all the major mountain ranges and volcanic activity, but also for the long-term regulation of atmospheric composition. For example, the exposure of fresh rock surfaces through tectonic uplift enhances the chemical weathering process, which removes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, effectively drawing down greenhouse gases over millions of years. This slow, continuous recycling process is fundamental to maintaining a stable, long-term climate suitable for complex life, proving that the restless, shifting nature of the ground is a necessary, deep-seated planetary function. The essential role of greenhouse gases. Understand that while current environmental challenges focus on the overabundance of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane, these molecules are, in fact, absolutely essential for the habitability of Earth. Without the natural greenhouse effect, which traps a portion of the solar energy radiated back from the surface, the Earth's average temperature would plummet to well below freezing, rendering the planet an icy wasteland incapable of sustaining liquid water. The problem humanity faces is not the existence of the greenhouse effect, but the rapid, artificial intensification of it through industrial activity, which is accelerating warming beyond the capacity of natural systems to adapt. This realization confirms that the atmospheric conditions necessary for life operate within an incredibly narrow, finely tuned thermal balance, where even small changes in gas concentrations can have profound and lasting global consequences. The ocean's vertical layers of life. Contemplate the sheer vertical depth and pressure gradients within the world's oceans, which are divided into distinct zones defined by light penetration. The uppermost layer, the photic zone, is thin but receives enough sunlight to support photosynthesis, forming the base of the marine food web. Beneath this lies the vast, perpetual darkness of the aphotic zone, where no sunlight penetrates. As the depth increases, the pressure mounts exponentially, creating an extreme environment where complex life, the deep-sea extremophiles, has evolved unique biological and metabolic adaptations, often relying on chemosynthesis near hydrothermal vents rather than sunlight. This layered reality demonstrates that the ocean is not a uniform body of water, but a series of distinct, immense environments, each supporting specialized forms of life and collectively representing the largest, most unexplored habitat on our planet, holding secrets that continue to challenge our understanding of biological limits. The interlocking carbon-oxygen cycle rests in the awareness of the immense, continuous recycling of the two most critical elements for life, carbon and oxygen, which are exchanged through the atmosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. The two primary engines of this cycle are photosynthesis, which consumes carbon dioxide and releases oxygen, and respiration, which consumes oxygen and releases carbon dioxide and water. Every breath you take is part of this global exchange, linking your personal metabolism to the health of the entire planetary system. Over geological time, vast amounts of carbon have been locked away in fossil fuels and carbonate rocks, regulating the long-term climate. The continuity and stability of this global cycle are absolutely necessary for the survival of all complex aerobic life forms, confirming your immediate, molecular participation in the continuous, life-sustaining breath of the Earth. The intricate architecture of snowflakes focus on the delicate complexity of a simple snowflake and the fundamental role of water's unique chemistry. Every snowflake is a crystal of ice, and every crystal possesses a precise, six-sided symmetry. This hexagonal structure is dictated by the stable hydrogen bonds that form between water molecules as they transition from liquid to solid. As the crystal grows while falling through the atmosphere, its final intricate shape is determined by the specific temperature and humidity conditions encountered along its unique path. No two large snowflakes are ever exactly alike because the atmospheric conditions they experience are microscopically unique. This phenomenon demonstrates that the most complex, seemingly infinite variations in nature can arise from the simple, predictable, and elegant rules of molecular bonding and external environmental influence, confirming the profound beauty found at the intersection of chemistry and chaos. The Earth's quiet celestial companions contemplate the constant, silent presence of asteroids and comets, the rocky and icy remnants that primarily reside in the asteroid belt and the distant Oort cloud and Kuiper belt. These celestial bodies are essentially the pristine, unaccreted construction materials left over from the formation of the solar system, preserving the chemical conditions that existed before the major planets fully formed. While they pose a long-term threat of impact, they are also likely responsible for delivering large quantities of water and the basic organic molecules, the chemical precursors to life, to the early Earth during the period of heavy bombardment. These quiet, ancient wanderers confirm that the origin of life on our planet may be intrinsically linked to the chemical gifts delivered from the cold, distant, and undisturbed frontiers of our solar system. The power of tidal friction, the gravitational interaction between the Earth and the Moon, not only creates the ocean tides, but also results in a continuous, minute transfer of energy that has profound, long-term consequences for the entire Earth-Moon system. This process, known as tidal friction, causes the Earth's rotation to gradually slow down, increasing the length of a day by a fraction of a second every century. Simultaneously, the Moon is slowly moving away from the Earth, receding by a few centimeters each year. This means that in the distant future, the day will be longer and the Moon will appear smaller in the sky. This subtle, relentless process demonstrates the pervasive, long-term influence of persistent gravitational forces, confirming that the Earth and Moon are not static neighbors but participants in a massive, continuous, and slowly evolving gravitational dance fueled by the friction of the world's oceans. The universal principles of symmetry rest in the realization that many of the fundamental laws of physics are intimately connected to the concept of symmetry. In physics, a symmetry corresponds to a property that remains unchanged even when the system is altered in some way. For instance, the law of conservation of energy is directly related to the symmetry of the laws of physics over time, meaning the physical laws are the same today as they were yesterday. Similarly, the law of conservation of momentum is related to the symmetry of the laws of physics over spatial location. These deep connections between conservation laws and symmetry principles underscore the underlying elegance and beautiful mathematical structure of the cosmos, confirming that the universe is governed by fundamental, unifying patterns that apply consistently across all scales and times. The quantum entanglement mystery. Allow your mind to drift into the realization of quantum entanglement, a profound and bizarre phenomenon where two or more particles become linked in such a way that they share the same fate, regardless of the physical distance separating them. If the quantum state of one entangled particle is measured, the quantum state of the other particle is instantaneously determined, even if that particle is light years away. This spooky action at a distance, as Einstein famously called it, suggests a non-local connection that challenges our classical understanding of space and time. Entanglement is a fundamental property of the quantum world, confirming that reality harbors deep, interconnected relationships that transcend the simple boundaries of proximity and independent existence. The phenomenon of vacuum energy. Contemplate the concept that the vacuum of space is not truly empty, but possesses an intrinsic, non-zero energy density, known as vacuum energy or zero-point energy. Quantum mechanics predicts that due to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, even in the complete absence of matter and radiation, quantum fields constantly fluctuate, spontaneously creating and annihilating pairs of virtual particles. This incessant, momentary activity gives rise to an immense, theoretical energy inherent to space itself. This vacuum energy is widely considered to be the most likely candidate for the mysterious dark energy that is accelerating the universe's expansion, confirming that the greatest force shaping the cosmos may originate from the subtle, continuous, and immense energy inherent in absolute emptiness. The impossibility of traveling faster than light rests in the understanding that the speed of light in a vacuum, the cosmic speed limit, is an absolute, unwavering constant that dictates the structure of the universe. According to the theories of relativity, any object with mass would require an infinite amount of energy to accelerate to the speed of light, making such travel impossible. As an object's speed increases, its mass and energy increase, and time slows down relative to a stationary observer. This fundamental limit ensures that the universe remains causally connected, confirming that the speed of light is not a suggestion but a necessary, rigid boundary that enforces the laws of cause and effect across the entire cosmos. The principle of equivalence. Consider the profound simplicity of the principle of equivalence, the foundational concept of general relativity, which states that the force of gravity is indistinguishable from the force experienced in an accelerating reference frame. Imagine being in a windowless elevator. You cannot tell whether the force pushing you to the floor is due to the Earth's gravity or if the elevator is accelerating upward in deep space. This realization transformed gravity from a mysterious force acting at a distance into a fundamental geometric property of spacetime itself, confirming that the sense of weight you feel when resting is merely a manifestation of the curvature of the cosmos created by the Earth's mass. The mystery of gamma-ray bursts. Be aware of gamma-ray bursts, the most energetic electromagnetic phenomena known in the universe, which are sudden, ultra-bright flashes of gamma rays that last from milliseconds to minutes. These bursts originate from extreme cosmic events, such as the collapse of massive stars into black holes or the merger of two neutron stars. Although these events occur billions of light years away, the energy released is so enormous that a burst directed toward Earth could have catastrophic effects. These brief, violent flashes serve as powerful beacons of the universe's most extreme physics, confirming the existence of explosive, colossal energy transformations constantly occurring across the vast cosmic expanse. The composition of neutron stars. Marvel at the existence of neutron stars, the incredibly dense, rapidly spinning remnants left behind after a massive star undergoes a supernova. These objects are so compact that a teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh billions of tons. They are composed almost entirely of tightly packed neutrons, crushed together by gravity to the point where the normal structure of atoms ceases to exist, making them immense, singular atomic nuclei. Neutron stars possess colossal magnetic fields and spin at incredible speeds, confirming that they are natural cosmic laboratories where matter exists in its most extreme, compressed state, subject to physical conditions that are impossible to replicate on Earth. The nature of pulsars. Recognize the pulsar, a type of highly magnetized, rapidly rotating neutron star that emits focused beams of electromagnetic radiation from its magnetic poles. Because the neutron star is spinning, these beams sweep across space like a cosmic lighthouse. And when the beam sweeps across the Earth, we detect a precise, periodic pulse of radiation. The rhythmic precision of these pulses is so regular that some were initially mistaken for signals from extraterrestrial civilizations. Pulsars act as extremely stable cosmic clocks, confirming that the rotational dynamics of these dead stars are dictated by the exquisite, powerful balance of gravity and angular momentum. The principle of cosmic chemical uniformity rests in the fact that the laws of physics and chemistry are universal and uniform across the entire cosmos. Spectroscopic analysis of light emitted from distant galaxies reveals that the same chemical elements, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and the same physical processes, gravity, electromagnetism, that govern your existence are operating identically billions of light years away. This uniformity is a fundamental assumption of modern cosmology, confirming that the scientific understanding developed on Earth is applicable to the entire universe, linking your local reality to the most distant regions of space through a consistent set of natural laws. The formation of heavy elements in supernovae. Revisit the essential role of supernovae in creating elements heavier than iron, such as gold, silver, and uranium. While lighter elements up to iron are forged through fusion in a star's core, the immense, final gravitational collapse during a supernova generates the necessary energy and free neutrons for neutron capture, a rapid process that creates the very heaviest elements in the universe. This confirms that every atom of gold on Earth was born from the spectacular, final death throes of a massive star, underscoring the precious, cosmic lineage of the heaviest elements we encounter. The life of dust in the atmosphere recognized the critical, often unseen role of microscopic dust particles in the Earth's atmosphere. These tiny particles, sourced from desert sands, sea salt spray, and volcanic ash, act as condensation nuclei, providing the necessary surface area for water vapor to condense around, enabling the formation of clouds, which are essential for precipitation and climate regulation. Without atmospheric dust, rainfall would be significantly inhibited. Furthermore, dust particles, particularly from large volcanic eruptions, can reflect sunlight, influencing global temperatures. This subtle but profound influence confirms that the most massive climate processes are often initiated by the action of tiny, ubiquitous particles. The mystery of Earth's water origin. Contemplate the scientific mystery surrounding the origin of the vast amounts of water that cover the Earth's surface. While some water was likely trapped in the rocks that formed the planet, a significant portion is believed to have been delivered during the early, chaotic history of the solar system by impacts from icy comets and water-rich asteroids. The precise ratio of hydrogen and its heavier isotope, deuterium, in ocean water provides clues, allowing scientists to compare Earth's water to that found in different types of celestial bodies. This search confirms that the very liquid that sustains life may be an ancient, precious gift delivered from the cold, distant edges of the solar system. The silent work of glaciers. Marvel at the immense, slow-motion power of glaciers and ice sheets, which are colossal masses of dense, compressed ice that currently cover about 10% of the Earth's land area. Glaciers are powerful agents of geological change, acting like massive, slow-moving bulldozers that carve out valleys, deposit sediments, and shape the landscape through relentless erosion and deposition. The constant freezing and thawing cycles also influence the global sea level and the thermohaline circulation currents of the oceans. The silent, slow movement of these ice masses demonstrates that geological processes often occur on timescales that far exceed human perception, confirming the quiet, persistent power of ice to shape the surface of our planet. The principle of isostasy. Rest in the realization of isostasy, the principle that describes the equilibrium of the Earth's crust floating on the denser, fluid-like mantle beneath. Continental crust, being less dense than oceanic crust, floats higher, forming continents, while oceanic crust sits lower, forming ocean basins. The crust constantly adjusts its vertical position in response to changes in mass, such as the growth or melting of massive ice sheets or the erosion of mountains. This gravitational balancing act explains why areas where ancient glaciers have melted are still slowly rising today, a process known as post-glacial rebound, confirming that the Earth's crust is not rigid but dynamically floating, constantly seeking a state of gravitational equilibrium. The role of the Coriolis effect. Recognize the subtle, yet powerful influence of the Coriolis effect, which is caused by the Earth's rotation and dictates the large-scale patterns of wind and ocean currents. This effect causes moving air masses and currents to be deflected to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere, leading to the formation of massive, rotating storm systems in the vast gyres of the ocean. The Coriolis effect is a critical element in understanding weather and climate patterns, confirming that the rotation of the planet exerts a profound, predictable influence on the fluid dynamics of the atmosphere and oceans, shaping the fundamental organization of global climate. The chemistry of volcanoes. contemplate the essential role of volcanoes in the long-term maintenance of the Earth's atmosphere and surface chemistry. Volcanic eruptions release vast quantities of gases, including water vapor, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxide, that were previously trapped beneath the crust. This outgassing over billions of years is believed to have been the primary source for the formation of the Earth's early oceans and atmosphere. While large eruptions can cause short-term global cooling by injecting aerosols into the atmosphere, the long-term release of carbon dioxide is a necessary component of the planet's slow, geological carbon cycle, demonstrating the critical link between the violent internal dynamics of the planet and the chemical composition of the atmosphere that sustains life. The biosphere's deep reach. Extend your understanding of the biosphere, the zone of life, beyond the surface, realizing that life extends kilometers into the Earth's crust and high into the atmosphere. Scientists have discovered vast, thriving communities of microorganisms living deep underground in solid rock, completely cut off from sunlight and oxygen, sustaining themselves through chemosynthesis by metabolizing minerals. This deep biosphere may contain a greater total mass of organisms than all life on the surface. This profound resilience confirms that the conditions necessary for life are far more flexible and widespread than previously imagined, demonstrating life's persistent ability to find footholds in the most extreme, unexpected ecological niches on the planet. The principle of uniformitarianism rests in the core geological principle of uniformitarianism, which proposes that the same natural laws and processes that operate in our present-day scientific observations have always operated in the universe in the past and apply everywhere. This principle, often summarized as the present is the key to the past, allows geologists to study modern-day processes such as erosion, sedimentation, and volcanic activity, and use them to accurately interpret the geological record, confirming that the fundamental physics and chemistry of the Earth have remained consistent throughout its billions of years of history. The atmosphere's thermal layers. Recognize that the atmosphere is not a uniform blend, but is stratified into distinct thermal layers, each with unique characteristics that profoundly affect air travel, weather, and chemistry. The troposphere, the lowest layer, contains most of the mass and all of the weather phenomena. Above it lies the stratosphere, which contains the protective ozone layer and where temperature increases with altitude. This layered structure, governed by temperature gradients and air density, dictates the vertical organization of atmospheric processes, confirming that the environment surrounding the planet is a complex, chemically and thermally divided system. The formation of impact craters. Contemplate the profound evidence of the early solar system's chaotic history visible on the surfaces of the Moon and other planetary bodies in the form of impact craters. These craters are the direct result of collisions with asteroids and comets during the late heavy bombardment period, a time when the inner solar system was subjected to an intense barrage of space debris. Although erosion and plate tectonics have removed most evidence of the earliest impacts on Earth, the preserved craters on the Moon provide a clear, visible record of the immense violence and transformative power of these early cosmic collisions. The origin of Earth's moon. Contemplate the prevailing scientific theory regarding the formation of the moon, which proposes a catastrophic event early in the solar system's history. It is believed that a Mars-sized protoplanet, often called Theia, collided violently with the early Earth. This immense impact ejected a massive plume of vaporized rock and debris from both bodies into orbit, which eventually coalesced due to gravity to form the moon. This theory explains the moon's relatively low density compared to Earth and the chemical similarities between the rock samples. This colossal cosmic crash, which violently reshaped the young Earth, resulted in the stable, massive satellite that now governs our tides, stabilizes our planet's axial tilt, and helps maintain the moderate climate essential for complex life. The tranquil celestial neighbor we see in the night sky is, in fact, the permanent remnant of an ancient, unimaginably powerful planetary collision. The phenomenon of biological chirality drift into the subtle chemical realization that the molecules of life exhibit a fundamental asymmetry known as chirality or handedness. Many essential biological molecules, such as the amino acids that build proteins and the sugars that form DNA and carbohydrates, exist in two non-superimposable mirror image forms, like a left hand and a right hand. Intriguingly, all life on Earth utilizes almost exclusively left-handed amino acids and right-handed sugars. The reason for this universal preference, or homochirality, is one of biology's enduring mysteries. It is speculated that this initial chemical choice may have been influenced by external factors, perhaps the circularly polarized light from stellar nurseries or specific catalysts found in meteorites. This subtle, one-sided chemical preference is a unifying characteristic of all known terrestrial life and confirms that the fundamental building blocks of biology are dictated by a delicate, universal chemical asymmetry. The Earth's atmosphere as a filter. Recognize that the Earth's atmosphere acts as a complex, multi-layered filter, allowing life-sustaining radiation to penetrate while blocking harmful wavelengths. Visible light, which is crucial for photosynthesis and vision, passes through relatively easily. However, the atmosphere efficiently absorbs or reflects the most damaging high-energy radiation, such as X-rays and most gamma rays, preventing them from reaching the surface. Conversely, the atmosphere is largely transparent to certain radio waves, allowing us to communicate across the globe and use radio astronomy to study distant objects. This selective transparency confirms that our atmosphere is a dynamically balanced window and shield, ensuring that the specific electromagnetic energies necessary for both life and scientific observation reach the surface, while the harmful components are safely deflected. The science of clouds and climate. Contemplate the crucial, yet complex role of clouds in regulating global climate. Clouds have a dual and sometimes contradictory effect on the planet's temperature. High, thin clouds tend to trap heat radiating from the Earth's surface, contributing to warming. Conversely, low, thick clouds are highly reflective, bouncing a significant portion of incoming solar radiation back into space, contributing to cooling. The balance between these opposing effects is highly sensitive to atmospheric conditions and composition, making clouds one of the largest sources of uncertainty in current climate models. Their formation, movement, and composition, dependent on water vapor, temperature, and atmospheric dust, confirm that these massive, visible formations are critical, complex components of the Earth's thermal engine, mediating the flow of solar energy and regulating global surface temperatures. The mystery of volcanic outgassing. Drift into the understanding that the Earth's oceans and initial atmosphere were primarily created through volcanic outgassing over the first billion years of the planet's history. Volcanoes continuously release massive amounts of water vapor and carbon dioxide that were previously trapped in the molten rock of the mantle. This slow, continuous release created the necessary conditions, a primitive atmosphere and the sustained source of liquid water, for the earliest forms of life to emerge. This long-term geological process confirms that the internal heat and molten dynamics of the planet are inextricably linked to the formation of the atmosphere and hydrosphere, underscoring the fact that the very air we breathe and the water we drink have their origins deep within the fiery, active core of our planet. The interlocking timescales of evolution rest in the realization that the process of biological evolution operates across multiple, interlocking timescales. The rapid evolution of viruses and bacteria, driven by short generation times and high mutation rates, can be observed over weeks or months, creating immediate challenges like antibiotic resistance. Conversely, the evolution of complex multicellular life, leading to the formation of new species and massive biodiversity changes, unfolds over millions of years. Both of these processes, the swift adaptation of microbes and the slow, deliberate changes in larger organisms, are governed by the same principles of natural selection, demonstrating that life is continuously adapting and evolving across a vast temporal spectrum, confirming the flexibility and enduring power of the genetic mechanisms that drive change. The chemical origins of life's energy focus on the critical chemical realization that the earliest forms of life on Earth did not rely on sunlight for energy, but likely utilized chemosynthesis, deriving energy from the chemical reactions occurring near deep-sea hydrothermal vents. These vents, where superheated, mineral-rich water spews from the seafloor, provide the necessary chemical and thermal gradients to power basic metabolic processes without oxygen or sunlight. This environment is thought to mimic the likely conditions of the early Earth, suggesting that life's initial spark was powered by geochemistry rather than photosynthesis, linking the origin of metabolism to the raw, volcanic heat and chemistry of the ocean floor. The Earth's quiet subduction zones contemplate the profound reality of subduction zones, where one tectonic plate is forced beneath another into the Earth's mantle. These zones are the planet's largest recycling centers, where old oceanic crust, along with trapped water and sediments, is plunged deep into the interior, driving the continuous cycle of plate tectonics. This process is crucial because the subducted water acts to lubricate the mantle, contributing to volcanic activity and the formation of continents. Subduction zones are also the sites of the planet's deepest trenches and the most powerful megathrust earthquakes. This relentless, slow-motion descent of crustal material confirms the constant geological turnover of the Earth's surface, renewing the lithosphere and releasing the internal pressures that shape the planet. The power of thermal radiation rests in the fundamental physics principle that every object with a temperature above absolute zero, including your own body, continuously emits electromagnetic radiation or heat. The wavelength of this emitted radiation is dependent on the object's temperature, a principle known as Wien's law. Hot objects, like the sun, emit light primarily in the visible and ultraviolet wavelengths, while cooler objects, like the Earth's surface and your body, emit heat primarily in the infrared wavelengths. This constant, invisible flow of thermal energy is the primary mechanism by which energy is exchanged between the Earth and space, confirming that the entire planet is a continuous emitter and absorber of energy, perpetually radiating its internal warmth into the cold vastness of the cosmos. The universal nature of fundamental forces, the final, unifying whisper confirms that the complexity of the universe is built upon the interaction of only four fundamental forces: gravity, which governs large-scale structure; the electromagnetic force, which governs light, chemistry, and atoms; the strong nuclear force, which binds the atomic nucleus; and the weak nuclear force, which governs radioactive decay. These four forces dictate every known interaction in the cosmos, from the smallest subatomic collision to the largest galactic movement. Understanding that all the astonishing phenomena of the universe are the result of the elegant and precise interplay of these four forces should bring a profound sense of peace and order, confirming that the apparent chaos of reality is governed by a small, perfect set of universal rules. The role of mantle plumes in volcanism. Drift into the understanding of mantle plumes, immense, slow-moving columns of superheated rock that rise from the deep boundary between the Earth's core and mantle, sometimes reaching the base of the crust. These plumes are distinct from the heat convection that drives plate tectonics. When a mantle plume reaches the crust, it can create a localized area of intense melting, leading to the formation of a long-lived hotspot that results in volcanic activity far from the active plate boundaries, such as the formation of the Hawaiian Islands. As the tectonic plate moves slowly over the stationary hotspot, a chain of volcanoes is created, tracing the movement of the crust over geological time. This process demonstrates that the Earth's internal heat engine has localized, powerful manifestations that shape the planet's surface in unique, long-lasting ways, confirming the profound complexity of the deep, restless forces beneath our feet. The chemistry and mystery of the aurora. Contemplate the ethereal beauty of the aurora borealis, northern lights, and aurora australis, southern lights, and their profound connection to the sun and the Earth's magnetic shield. These dazzling displays of light are created when high-energy charged particles, primarily electrons and protons ejected from the sun during solar flares or coronal mass ejections, are funneled along the lines of the Earth's magnetic field toward the polar regions. As these particles collide with atoms and molecules of gases in the upper atmosphere, primarily oxygen and nitrogen, they excite those atoms, causing them to emit light at specific wavelengths. Excited oxygen atoms typically emit green or red light, while nitrogen atoms emit blue or purplish light. This spectacular celestial phenomenon is a visible manifestation of the dynamic, protective interaction between the Earth's powerful, unseen magnetic field and the continuous flow of charged energy from our star, confirming the profound and beautiful consequences of cosmic physics. The science of desert formation. Recognize that the vast, arid landscapes of Earth's deserts are primarily formed not just by a lack of rainfall, but by predictable, global atmospheric circulation patterns. The most common deserts, such as the Sahara, are located near 30 degrees latitude north and south of the equator. At the equator, hot, moist air rises, creating tropical rainforests. This air then cools, loses its moisture, and travels poleward. By the time this dry air descends back toward the surface around 30 degrees latitude, it is extremely dry and hot, suppressing cloud formation and creating a high-pressure zone that dictates aridity. This process, part of the Hadley cell circulation, confirms that the distribution of Earth's major biomes is governed by powerful, predictable, large-scale atmospheric dynamics that redistribute heat and moisture across the globe. The principle of hydrothermal vents. Drift into the realization of hydrothermal vents, deep-sea fissures found primarily along mid-ocean ridges, where superheated, mineral-rich water spews from the seafloor. These vents are unique ecosystems because they lack sunlight and rely entirely on chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis for energy. Specialized bacteria use chemical energy derived from the oxidation of reduced sulfur compounds, such as hydrogen sulfide, to form the base of an entire food web supporting organisms like giant tube worms, mussels, and crabs. This discovery fundamentally altered the definition of the habitable zone, demonstrating that life can thrive in extreme conditions and providing a crucial model for how life might exist on other moons, such as Europa or Enceladus, which harbor subsurface oceans. The structure of the Kuiper Belt. Contemplate the existence of the Kuiper Belt, a vast, donut-shaped ring of icy, rocky bodies located beyond the orbit of Neptune. This region is a cold, distant reservoir of pristine material left over from the formation of the solar system, containing many dwarf planets, including Pluto, and the origins of many short-period comets. The objects in the Kuiper Belt have orbits that are stable and relatively unperturbed by the major planets, preserving a chemical record of the solar system's initial conditions. This vast, silent outer region confirms that the solar system extends far beyond the familiar orbits of the 8 major planets, holding billions of ancient, frozen remnants of the primordial nebula. The uniqueness of Jupiter's Great Red Spot. Marvel at the Great Red Spot on Jupiter, a massive, persistent storm that is larger than the entire planet Earth and has been raging for at least 4 centuries. This colossal storm is an anticyclonic storm, rotating counterclockwise, driven by the immense energy and fluid dynamics of Jupiter's turbulent atmosphere. Its persistence and size are due to Jupiter's lack of a solid surface, which would normally cause hurricanes on Earth to dissipate. The Great Red Spot is a powerful, visible example of the colossal, sustained atmospheric forces that can exist on the larger, gas giant planets, demonstrating the unique physics of fluid dynamics on a planetary scale. The chemical basis of respiration. Focus on the critical role of cellular respiration, the essential metabolic process that occurs within the mitochondria of your cells, converting the chemical energy stored in glucose into the usable energy molecule ADP. This process is the reverse of photosynthesis. It consumes oxygen and simple sugars and releases carbon dioxide and water as byproducts. This continuous, complex chemical process generates the energy required for every activity your body performs, from the flicker of a thought to the beat of your heart, confirming that the very energy of your consciousness and life is the result of a continuous, controlled burn occurring at the molecular level within your cells. The nature of cosmic rays. Recognize the continuous, subtle barrage of cosmic rays, high-energy protons, and atomic nuclei that originate from outside the solar system, often from distant supernovae and black holes. These particles travel at relativistic speeds and constantly impact the Earth's atmosphere, creating showers of secondary, lower-energy particles that can reach the surface. Although our atmosphere and magnetic field shield us from the primary radiation, cosmic rays contribute to background radiation levels and can affect sensitive electronic equipment. This constant, high-energy particle flux confirms that we are perpetually exposed to and protected from the dynamic, powerful physical processes occurring across the entire galaxy. The concept of the habitable zone. Contemplate the concept of the habitable zone, or the Goldilocks zone. which defines the narrow range of orbital distances around a star where the temperature is just right for liquid water to exist stably on a planet's surface. A planet too close to its star would be too hot, causing water to vaporize. A planet too far would be too cold, causing water to freeze solid. The presence of liquid water is considered the most critical factor for supporting life as we know it. This zone is a crucial filter in the search for exoplanets and confirms that the conditions necessary for complex surface life are dictated by a delicate, specific balance of stellar distance and planetary chemistry. The final cosmic connection, the final whisper, confirms the profound, unifying realization that all the elements, forces, and cycles discussed tonight, from the quantum uncertainty of the atom to the immense gravitational certainty of the galaxy, are intricately interconnected. The stardust that formed your body is governed by the same laws of physics that shaped the cosmic web. The energy that fuels your consciousness is derived from the sun, filtered by the ozone layer, and regulated by the magnetic field, which is generated by the core. There is no separation between you and the cosmos. Your existence is the temporary, magnificent manifestation of the universe's material and energetic processes. You are the universe contemplating itself. Now, let these 100 whispers of science and wonder settle in your mind. You have traveled from the liquid iron core of the Earth to the distant, accelerating edges of the cosmos. You have contemplated the silent power of dark matter, the fragility of the ozone veil, and the miraculous carbon backbone that forms your very being. With every breath, feel the ancient rhythm of the universe guiding you. Feel the protective magnetic field holding you safe. Feel the slow, profound certainty of gravity anchoring you to this moment. There are no more questions to answer now, and no more distances to travel. Your mind is calm, your body is heavy, and the world is quiet. Drift away, knowing you are a piece of the cosmos, perfectly designed and completely safe. Sleep deeply. Sleep soundly. Good night.